I'm talking with Missoula County Attorney Kirsten Pabst. And Kirsten, you've put out what I understand is the first ever annual report from your office. So tell me a little bit about it.
Well, we decided that it would be good for the community and good for us to take a look at a lot of reports and put together some statistics and try to identify some trends and see where it is, the direction that we're coming from and where it is we want to go. And then I thought it would be a really good way to communicate some of that information to the folks that we're here to serve.
I'm noting pretty close to the top of the report are some notable cases that I know folks may or may not have seen in the media.
Yeah, most of these were our higher profile cases of the last year. I do think that they're somewhat typical as far as the resources that we put into them and the results that we got, but I used those because I thought folks might recognize the names, cases that they'd been following. The first was obviously the Marcus Karma case, extremely high profile. He ended up with a sentence of 70 years to the Montana State Prison for the deliberate homicide of Dyron Dede. Donald Town was a sex offender that Jennifer Clark prosecuted. He was a level 3 predator, and she was able to get a significant sentence on him as well, life without parole, so he will never offend another child as long as he's alive. There were several others where we participated on the tail end, traveling to the Board of Pardons and Parole to oppose the release of various offenders, including Rory Castle, who had kidnapped and tortured his ex-girlfriend, Thomas Englert, who had broken into the home of and murdered an elderly woman who had befriended him.
Okay. So now, aside from these notable cases, I know you have hundreds of others that your staff has labored long and hard over. So give us some of the numbers of the cases that you folks have prosecuted over the year.
Well, we filed 662 new felony cases, which is actually pretty consistent with what we've seen the last few years. We had a total number of our total case load was 1,687 this last year, which was about the same as last year and a little bit down from the year before that in 2013, reflecting a decline in the number of misdemeanors that we filed, but an increase in the number of felonies.
All right. Now, I know that you have kind of revamped your staff and looking at trying to emphasize certain directions where you want to provide more service to certain areas. How have you changed the office?
We've made some substantial changes, Peter. One of the things that I promised people when I ran for election was that I would take a look at our civil department and do what I could to restructure it so that we could reduce red tape and streamline county government by helping people. I believe that we've been able to do that. We've got 3 full-time litigators now who represent the county in civil suits against the county, but they also go out to the various departments and work with the departments and work with constituents in ways that we can help solve problems, work with other departments, and avoid litigation if at all possible. So that's been a huge cost savings move for the county, keeping those in-house. One of the other huge changes that we made was filling out our special victims unit. We've gone from what was historically one-person role handling most of the special victims cases, a person who was in the past relatively untrained, to having 6.5 full-time people now committed to the Special Victims Unit. 4 prosecutors, one which is co-located at the Missoula Police Department. She specializes in investigations and guiding the law enforcement officers in doing sound investigations and legally sufficient search warrants and things like that, building better cases at the front end. We've got an in-house crime victim witness coordinator who spends a lot of time working with witnesses and victims that we're maintaining a relationship with them so that they are ready and able to testify when trial comes around. We've got an in-house investigator now, which is something that we've been asking for years, and it's such a relief to have somebody like Mike Dominic working for us. and helping us build better cases for trial as well. So that's another one of our huge successes. We've got a flagship special victims unit, prosecution unit now that we're actually participating in training so that we're going around and educating other folks who had faced some similar challenges in the past.
So let me ask you this. As you look at this report, how does that help prepare you for the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, I think it's really important to look at some of these things that we're looking at. In fact, we've been able to identify some pretty disturbing trends. We had certainly talked about in the past the rise in the use of methamphetamine, the corresponding rise in child abuse and neglect cases, as well as this pretty significant spike in strangulation cases. We've talked about that in the past, but the numbers bear that out as well. One of the things that we're doing then is taking this information and talking to our partners in the law enforcement community and seeing ways that we can address some of these alarming trends. So I certainly see that helping us in our future endeavors to reduce crime and make Missoula a safer place for the community.